Idiot Savant. The Paradox of the Savant. Welcome back. I am Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and this is The Great Series, where we discuss the greatest minds to ever live and what it means to be intellectually gifted. For centuries, people have been astonished and often unsettled by individuals who display extraordinary brilliance in one narrow field while struggling with the simplest of daily tasks. The old, outdated term for them was idiot savant, a cruel label that emphasized disability before talent. Today we speak of savant syndrome, a condition most commonly associated with autism spectrum disorder, in which astonishing islands of genius appear amid otherwise limited functioning. Why do they surprise us so deeply? Because they reveal a contradiction we rarely expect. Someone who cannot remember to eat breakfast on time may also calculate prime numbers faster than a supercomputer. A man who struggles to tie his shoes may be able to reproduce an entire symphony after hearing it only once. A woman unable to hold eye contact might sketch a city skyline from memory with photographic accuracy. We are conditioned to think of intelligence as all or nothing. If you are smart at everything. If you struggle at everything. But savants explode that binary. They show us that the mind is not a single dial that goes from low to high. It is a complex circuit board, with some channels dim, others average, and one or two burning with unimaginable brightness. Why one thing, not all things? The surprise of the savant lies in specificity. Genius here is not broad, it is concentrated. Many savants are socially withdrawn, have difficulty with self-care, or require lifelong support. Yet within their domain, they perform feats that seasoned professionals cannot replicate. Take Kim Peek, the inspiration for Rain Man. He could read 2 pages at once, one with each eye, and remember nearly everything he ever read, amassing knowledge from over 12,000 books. Yet he could not button his own shirt without assistance. Or Stephen Wiltshire, the human camera. After a single helicopter ride, he can draw entire cities, New York, Rome, Tokyo, with thousands of windows, streets, and landmarks rendered in perfect proportion. Ask him to plan a meal, however, and he may freeze. Or Daniel Tammet, who sees numbers as colors and shapes, allowing him to calculate vast equations or recite pi to 22,514 digits. Yet what amazes researchers even more is that he can describe how he does it, turning his savant perception into language others can glimpse. The paradox is always the same. The ordinary is difficult. The extraordinary is effortless. The neurology of astonishment. Why does this happen? Neuroscience offers some clues. Many savants display differences in left brain functioning, responsible for language, sequencing, daily reasoning, combined with extraordinary compensation in other regions. Some show hyperconnectivity between areas of the brain that normally operate separately. In other words, where one pathway is blocked, another grows wild, producing abilities that defy conventional learning. This explains why many savants cannot explain how they do what they do. They don't solve equations step by step, they simply see the answer. They don't memorize songs by repetition, they hear once and it imprints. What looks miraculous is, in fact, a brain wired for intensity in one direction and deficiency in another. Why they shock us. Savants shock us not only because of what they can do, but because of what they cannot do. Society is accustomed to respecting polymaths, the Da Vincis and Curies who excel in many domains. We understand prodigies who seem advanced in every way, but the savant is something else entirely. Asymmetric genius. It unsettles us because it breaks the myth of intelligence as general competence. We want to believe the mind works on a ladder, each rung higher than the last. The savant shows us a different geometry, not a ladder but a jagged skyline, where one tower scrapes the heavens while the surrounding buildings barely rise above the street. This is why the idiot savant label stuck for so long. It was society's way of saying, how can you be both brilliant and broken? But that framing reveals more about our limited imagination than about them. They are not broken geniuses. They are focused ones. Savants and the shape of genius. What makes the savant so valuable to our understanding of genius is the reminder that genius need not be whole to be real. You do not need to be a Renaissance man or woman, excelling at 10 different things to qualify. You may be brilliant in one domain and ordinary, or even disabled in all others. That brilliance still matters, and it is not rare to see echoes of this in the lives of recognized geniuses. Nikola Tesla, though not a savant, described vivid visualizations of machines that overwhelmed him physically. Isaac Newton was absent-minded to the point of leaving meals uneaten, yet carried physics into a new era. Many artists, scientists, and writers who changed the world lived in states of imbalance, towering gifts paired with visible struggles. The savant is simply the most dramatic case where the imbalance is undeniable. The lesson they leave. The paradox of the savant forces us to ask, why do we measure people by what they cannot do instead of what they can? If a man can draw Rome from memory, why should his inability to do the dishes define him? If a woman can compose a symphony, why should her awkwardness at conversation eclipse her gift? In this sense, savants are mirrors. They reveal how shallow our definitions of intelligence truly are. We pretend intelligence is about balance, when in truth, it is about intensity. We pretend genius must be rounded, when in truth, it is often jagged. The shock we feel when we see a savant is really the shock of being confronted with a possibility we never considered. That greatness can live right alongside difficulty. That brilliance can exist without balance. That genius can look like brokenness until we stop measuring it by the wrong scale. Famous idiot savants, Kim Peek, 1951-2009, mega savant, gift, memorized 12,000 plus books, maps, calendars, could recall facts across science, history, and literature instantly. Lacking, could not button his shirt, comb his hair, or live independently. Motor coordination was so impaired he needed full-time care. Stephen Wiltshire, B. 1974, The Human Camera. Gift, can draw entire city skylines from memory after a single viewing, down to window counts and proportions. Lacking, as a child, was nonverbal until age 9, struggles with basic social interaction and organization. Daniel Tammet, B. 1979, The Brain Man. Gift, sees numbers as colors, shapes, recited pi to 22,514 digits, learned Icelandic in 7 days. Lacking. Despite extraordinary calculation skills, reports difficulty with social functioning, sensory overload, and conventional learning. Leslie Lemke, 1952-2011, pianist savant. Gift, blind and with cerebral palsy, played Tchaikovsky's piano concerto after one hearing. Could perform complex music flawlessly from memory. Lacking, could not walk until age 15, needed help with daily care, and remained largely dependent on caregivers. Alonzo Clemens, B. 1958, sculptor savant gift, can sculpt lifelike anatomically accurate animals in minutes, purely from memory. Lacking, suffered a brain injury as a child, has limited speech and cannot live independently. Orlando Sorrell, B. 1968, calendar savant. Gift, after a head injury, gained ability to recall the day of the week for any date after 1979, plus weather and personal details. Lacking, before his accident, was an ordinary child. After, he displayed obsessive tendencies, but still struggles with other learning tasks. Thomas Fuller, 1710-1790, The Virginia Calculator. Gift, could solve enormous calculations instantly, seconds and decades, square roots of massive numbers. Lacking, illiterate, no formal education, limited ability outside numbers. Jedediah Buxton, 1707-1772, English calculator. Gift, extraordinary mental calculator, counted words in Shakespeare plays, tracked numerical patterns obsessively. Lacking, illiterate, poor understanding of anything but numbers, socially awkward. Blind Tom Wiggins, 1849-1908, pianist savant gift, blind African-American pianist who could reproduce music after one hearing, over 7,000 concerts. Lacking, could not manage daily tasks, had limited communication and understanding outside music. Gottfried Mind, 1768-1814, The Cat Raphael. Gift, produced stunningly lifelike drawings of cats revered for his precision. Lacking, described as slow in other subjects, with limited comprehension outside drawing. Modern Derek Paravicini, B. 1979, blind pianist. Gift, plays any piece of music after one hearing. Perfect pitch, can transpose instantly. Lacking, born premature, blind, with severe autism, cannot dress himself, struggles with conversation and independence. Matt Savage, B. 1992, jazz prodigy. Gift, became a jazz piano sensation in childhood, composing and performing worldwide. Lacking, diagnosed with autism, struggled with sensory integration and social adaptation, though later improved with support.